longer and pointed anal and dorsal fins, and sometimes will be a little more colored. The females will have a patch on the middle of their dorsal fin as well as a dark spot on the lower gill cover. So with this fish, you can definitely see the dark spot on the lower gill. As far as your tank setup, we would recommend sand substrate, driftwood, rocks, anything that can mimic its natural habitat. It also prefers some fast-moving water, so maybe an air pump. Overall, they're a very hardy fish, and they can do really well in a variety of tank parameters and temperatures. We'll put that in the bottom left corner. As long as you keep your ammonias and nitrites low, you should be good. Salvini cichlids are omnivores, so definitely feed them a variety of foods. However, we would recommend giving them a diet that's high in protein, such as bloodworms and fried shrimp. When it comes to breeding, they will pair off, and when they are breeding, they'll become extremely aggressive, even more so than their typical state. So that's something to definitely look out for when you have this fish. So that does it for this care guide. We hope you enjoyed it. As always, make sure to subscribe, like, or comment down below if you have any questions. We really love this fish and we hope you enjoyed it. Thanks again for watching.
The extra mile for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play. And backed by the one-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded out there. Mercedes-Benz.
Hi guys, welcome to another video from Cichlid Bros. Today we're going to be walking through a care guide and a species profile on the Salvini cichlid. This is just a beautiful fish and one of our absolute favorites in the hobby. We think you'll really enjoy it, but as always, make sure to subscribe down below, like the video, and leave any questions in the comments section. So here we have our 75-gallon aquarium in our classroom that you may have seen before. We'll put a link in the upper right-hand corner if you'd like to see more of this tank. But today we're going to be focusing on the Salvini cichlid that you can see right here. These fish are just beautiful, and the first thing that you'll notice is just their striking coloration of yellow, red, blue, orange, and black. The females and males are both very colorful, so that's definitely a positive of this fish, is that both the females and males have this great coloration. The main thing you need to know about a Salvini cichlid is the aggression level. Almost anyone will tell you that the Salvini is one of the most aggressive Central American cichlids you can find. And although these cichlids only get about 6 inches in length, they really do hold their own against much bigger fish, and sometimes they even pick on those bigger fish. So if you have these in a tank with, say, an Oscar, a Jack Dempsey, a Greek hair, something like that, you just need to be mindful that these Salvinis can be really aggressive towards these big guys, and even if it's an Oscar or a Jack Dempsey, something bigger than it still might go after it. This is a female Salvini cichlid that you're looking at. About 2 months ago, it seemed to really flip a switch where the aggression levels kicked up to a new notch, and it started fighting with our Jack Dempsey for a while. That's kind of mellowed out, and we're hoping that everything is smooth going forward, but this might also just be because it's a female, and typically females are slightly less aggressive, but it's always something you need to consider when keeping this fish. The next biggest thing to consider with this fish is its tank mates. So, as we mentioned, Central American cichlids that are similar in size are usually the best to keep this with. So we have a Jack Dempsey, a Green Terror, and a couple convex, as well as a few giant Danios swimming at the top. Be really careful about putting this fish with smaller community fish. It will definitely go after them and will likely pick them apart. And when considering tank mates, you also need to consider tank size. If you're going to keep some of those Central American cichlids with them, we wouldn't recommend anything below a 75-gallon tank like this one here. If you're going to keep a Salvini or a pair together alone, you could probably get away with a 55-gallon tank. Just be prepared to potentially separate them or put a divider in the tank because Salvinis do seem to pick at each other quite a bit. When determining the sex of these fish, it's usually pretty easy as long as the fish are mature. Typically the males will have longer and pointed anal and dorsal fins, and sometimes will be a little more colored. The females will have a patch on the middle of their dorsal fin as well as a dark spot on the lower gill cover. So with this fish, you can definitely see the dark spot on the lower gill. As far as your tank setup, we would recommend sand substrate, driftwood, rocks, anything that can mimic its natural habitat. It also prefers some fast-moving water, so maybe an air pump. Overall, they're a very hardy fish, and they can do really well in a variety of tank parameters and temperatures. We'll put that in the bottom left corner. As long as you keep your ammonias and nitrites low, you should be good. Salvini cichlids are omnivores, so definitely feed them a variety of foods.